Oh, you're all tabbed. Let's do the Patreon.
Did you write down the rewards yet?
Well, we're gonna talk about that with Chad. It's gonna be like a whole segment that we did. But yeah, I have a few down.
All right. Well, let's go. Talk to us about the different tiers.
Okay. From like low to high.
Yeah, let's start at the lowest, the least exciting.
$5.
$5 lowest. Okay, go ahead.
Your name will appear on the Be Right Back screen, and it'll be like a scrolling list of like, hey, here are patrons. Yep.
Wow, sounds like a lot of tech, but okay.
No,
cool. $5 to get your name on the Be Right Back screen. All right, what else?
Well, I know the sponsor tier. The highest tier would probably just be like you pay for a whole episode. Which would be, I don't know what Koibu is charging, but like $300 to $400. And then
Jesus Christ, $300 Patreon?
Yep. And then basically we would shout you out at the start of the stream and say, hey, this episode is sponsored by
Get a
so-and-so.
shout out. Holy shit, that's awesome. Anybody want to give me $300?
All right, I'm done. You're being in a word I can't say. I'm not helping you. I hope that you get f***ed, and I hope you have to pay for it for the rest of your life. Go suck a
No, wait, these were... No, these were good.
No,
dude.
you're being an asshole. I'm done.
Let's...
What if like for a high tier reward or whatever you let the patron or whatever name a character or like have a character named after them or something like an NPC?
I was waiting to get up to the $40,000 a month one where they the Patreon buys me a new car.
He left, dude. Why didn't you do this?
And then I shout them out at the start of a driving stream. I'm sorry. Okay. Well, I'm just sorry. Let me bring it back.
So fucked up.
Okay. Okay. Stop. You need to calm down. Are you calm down now, RNA?
I'm great, dude.
Okay, somebody bring...
Why didn't Dan ask if Moot was okay after that?
Yeah, Dan, what the
Shut the fuck up. You're dumb.
Okay. Stop. Okay. Oh, all right. Bring Moody Cakes back. We need to get him back, guys. Come on.
Hey, Destiny,
Channel and chat
can
for
I
him.
get a
I need to
shout
get
out?
a
I am a few $100 short though.
Stop. I need to get
This stream is sponsored by the Whites.
What emote would summon Moot back the most? What do we think?
Free Twitch Prime shout out Pepe laugh.
The king emote.
The king emote?
Muton, why would I need to pay $300 a month when the dono lady can say Zasabi just
Hey,
fine?
what's up, Moody Cakes?
You done being a fucking asshole?
Yeah, RNA is like
For
messaging me.
$5, my name appears on the screen longer than a $400 patron Pepe laugh.
Okay, so what was the after?
No, you're gonna have to leave Terraria. I'm done.
No, hold on.
No, you're on another level of assholery right now. I feel bad because you're having to pay for it in every episode. So I'm like, hey, let's start a Patreon. You're like, okay, that's a good idea. Yeah, we'll do it on
Is
stream
this
tomorrow.
enough for a shout
And then
out,
now you're being a
Steven?
fucking cunt about
Okay,
it.
okay, no, you're right.
Why
Okay,
am I gonna help you?
You're
No.
right. No, I agree with you. You're right. So let me back up. Okay. So what I meant to say earlier was that I don't think a shout out is good compensation for a $300
Sure.
thing. Okay.
They like sponsor the whole episode, and then they can shout out whatever the fuck they want. So if it wants to be like a company doing it, like, hey, like check out da 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 da. There's usually 3,000 people watching. Obviously, I don't think a shout out is great, but this would be like a, just like somebody wants to buy the episode.
Put it in the
for
stream
us.
title too.
I'm sure someone would.
$74 for the Muton tier.
True. That's could be a thing. Yeah. This episode sponsored by X company, and then like a website or something they could link, right?
Sure. This episode's sponsored by Bombjin, Pepe Laugh and Chat. Like people would probably do that for the meme. Yes.
Yeah, that's possible. Okay. How does this? Have you talked about this with Koibu at all?
The extra Patreon stuff? No, not yet.
Because the only thing that's kind of weird is that, like, I didn't realize this for a while, but apparently he runs Patreons off of our campaigns.
Yeah.
So like, aren't we
I
basically?
was assuming that we would pay him more. I don't know how much because obviously we haven't talked about it.
Mhm.
I asked him about the naming NPCs and stuff if he'd be cool with it.
Mhm.
But yeah, and then we can have stretch goals and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Why are these trees fucking growing? Are you writing? Do you have a Google Doc?
Yeah, I do. Or a Google Doc. I just have a sheet. I can open. I'll make a Google Doc.
Maybe the party runs into an orc and then the orc
I
drinks
donate
from his refreshing
$10,000.
can of Pepsi
Will Koibu cancel
before
Empire Work
attacking the
again?
group. Pepe
Sure,
laugh.
it would. Yeah, probably.
Make it happen. Chat.
Stretch goal. I'm adding your Steven Vanilla account.
Adding what?
I added your Steven Vanilla account to the
Oh.
Google Doc if you want to be on it.
Cool. Would you consider letting donators do like cameo appearances as PCs in the campaign?
No.
The problem with you guys is that, I'm sorry, most of you just can't work a fucking microphone. Like, in a perfect world, that might be a thing, but what would happen is you would come on, your mic would be fucking horrible and hazy, or your cameras would be broken, or you'd just be too shy, or like, you guys just suck as human beings, most of you do. I'm sorry. So no, would never happen.
Also, nothing that happens in Patreon should mechanically affect the game. So, for example, if you want to donate $100 to give us inspiration, I wouldn't want that. Like stuff like that. If you want to name a monster or
What
something,
about
or
a
if you want to
dump
be a
truck
named
tier?
like, I don't know, bartender, that's fine. But anything mechanical, someone suggested like $1,000 to re-roll a dice. Like, no, I think that's too.
Top tier patrons should get to write the script for the next episode. Duck or Z.
Sure, naming weapons and stuff. I would personally be fine with having my magical item named. That's fine because it doesn't mechanically affect the game, right?
Or does it?
Could. So what happens if we throw this up and let's say it makes, I don't know, about $5,000 a month, right? Let's say Koibu gets $2,000 of that. We'll call it $500 each episode.
Wait,
just
why
for
would
easy
he?
numbers.
Why would we split in Koibu to this?
Okay, well, let's say he gets, I don't know, what's 3 times 4? Let's say he gets $1,200 a month, right?
Well, that's
what
what
are we
I'm
going to
paying him.
do? Sure. What are we going to do with the rest of the, I don't know, what was it, 4,400? Would we have just like stretch goals? Like at $2,000, we'll do art, or we'll do animations, and the Patreons will get to vote on what gets animated. Stuff like that, or?
I think if I had more money, I would just dump more into the production. Because like you can pay like people to do animations, you could pay
Yeah.
people to do like better music. Yeah, stuff like that.
One thing I wanted to ask Koibu is maybe if we could pay for like a map maker or somebody or something like that.
Well, so one thing you'd have to be careful of is like how much of this are we paying Koibu for versus like why would we pay a separate map maker? Like isn't that part of what Koibu does?
I guess, yeah. But we haven't had maps for, I mean,
Yeah, but he'll be in the next one, right?
well, I mean, that's something that we need to talk about, right? If we want it to be, I mean, if we're opening up a huge Patreon for this and say we get like a lot more, then I mean, maybe Koibu's just there to DM the game and he doesn't want to make like every single shitty map, right?
Well, but
Which
that's
is
like
understandable.
I thought that was like part of what we paid him for, right? Like I don't just pay
I don't
a guy
know.
like $300 for 3 hours to talk to me for a while.
Okay, then where are the maps then?
I don't know. They're in his other campaigns.
Okay, then obviously, then this campaign should probably pay him more then or something if we want it to take priority, right? That's the way I'm coming at it from.
Sure, I understand. I was under the impression that that was like part of the reason why we paid him was to do like maps and stuff.
Sure.
Pay artists for character portraits. This is an okay goal. That's like a one-time payment though of like $200. Should be able to get like 4 character portraits done. Like that shouldn't be that
Yeah,
big
it'd
of
be
a
pretty
deal.
cheap.
Oh my god, I wasn't watching my computer. Holy shit.
thought part of the problem was he doesn't always know where you go. That's why you can't make maps for everything. Yeah, sure, and that's fine. This isn't meant to be like a slight at Koibu, chat.
Is it
This
though?
is just like no, it's really not. I think Koibu does a fucking fantastic job, and he might even be like weirdly underpaid.
Call him. Say it. What is he?
Great DM.
He's scared.
Do patrons get a flare in chat? Yeah, we could give patrons like a D&D flare or something like that. Yeah.
That'd be cute.
Yeah, and then patrons would get to vote on like the, I don't know, monthly animation that would come out.
I mean, we could do an animation per episode if we're making that much, right?
Sure, yeah. It just depends on how quickly he can churn them out, right?
Well, if it's the Silkworm guy, it seems like he does that shit like pretty quickly, right?
Oh, does he? I have no idea.
Well, he was
I have
doing
no
every
idea how
2
often
weeks,
you...
right?
Oh, was he doing one every 2 weeks? Then yeah, he churns them out pretty quickly.
If you are a patron that
So
gets to
definitely
name
two
a
a month could
wizard's
happen, yeah.
wand and it's not a dick reference, he'll find you.
A post-show type thing?
Post show? What does that mean?
I don't really know, like a post-show after D&D, like talking about what happened. I don't know if that's interesting though, because like, what happened this episode? Oh, well, we went into the cavern and we killed the dragon. And Steven looks at me and he's like, yep, that's what we did.
What is a post show?
Post-show.
I think it's a little more than that, though. In a post show, you could like explain like thoughts you had in your head at a time, and like try to like go into more detail about why you did what you did or whatever. It'd
Sure,
probably be
and
really good for Devin, actually.
I mean, yeah, he did that before, I think.
Did he really?
Oh yeah, you were doing it on his own stream after.
Yeah. We also have somebody who's British who probably can't stay up that late for a post show, right?
Yeah.
Post show where patrons ask questions. Oh, I was thinking about doing like once a month we'll answer like patrons questions or something like that. I don't think an every Thursday thing would be appropriate, but oh yeah, one thing to bring people in was maybe we make session 0 Patreon only.
Oh damn.
So if people want to see what happens, session 0, they gotta do a patron for it.
Damn, gating content now.
Fuck you. Well, we're not gonna do a session 0, so this would be the only way that we can maybe do it, and it would be smart.
Well, we are doing a session 0, right?
Not on stream, right?
Jesus Christ. I don't know if... I'm not sure yet. Or if we do it, it'll be like after we've all got our characters figured out and shit.
Can we DM you on Discord ideas? Yeah, it'd probably be the best way. Have patrons call in character creation to bounce ideas around? I don't mean to... No. Sorry, chat. Everybody has garbage mics.
Whoa.
Let patrons hear during the break.
Definitely not.
That'd be a high goal, ladies and gentlemen.
Lycan, what was your take about role-playing Nazism or whatever yesterday? I'm really curious.
He supports it.
That's the gist I got from his chat logs.
Who, me? Or Mutin?
No,
Lycan.
Me.
Oh, Lycan. Lycan loves Nazism.
Go ahead, Lycan. Ready to rip you on this one.
No, I just said that I think that role play is, to me, television, right? These people are acting, they're playing characters. So to ascribe some sort of like, well, everyone here must be fucking just acting out things they can't do in real life, haha. Like, I think that's a little silly. These are entertainers on a Twitch stream, right? This isn't, I'd say more dangerously would be someone at home doing, not dangerously, but more wrong would be someone doing it at home. Like, I question, are you really interested in this? Why? But these are characters, right? No one's going to get super pissed off that someone plays a Nazi on TV, are they?
How do you feel about the chat probably literally spamming, like, go get those orcs, like, tie that orc up, like, kill that orc, like, and stuff like that.
I mean, but what do you think would happen if you put chat to TV?
I feel like the difference is that like TV is like everybody's following the same goal or whatever. Obviously, there's like a script and you have like all these things that you're doing, but like D&D is like a collaborative effort.
Also,
Yeah,
like,
it's
Nazis
bad
on
writing on the
TV
fly.
are. I can't even think of an example of like Nazism on TV being like painted in like a good light.
So here's the thing, right? Like, so I didn't watch the show. I'm getting all my information about it from chat and comment threads and stuff, right? But my feeling on it, from what I'm gathering, is that like, what do you mean by a good light, right? Like, the devil in South Park is portrayed as like a kind of goofy, funny dude who just happens to be somewhat evil, but in a weird way, he has a good heart, right? Now, yeah, I get it. The devil's, you know, for most people in this community don't think the devil's real, but the point is that they take an evil character and they put a funny light to it, right? I can think of a lot of Mel Brooks stuff that like has some Nazi themes to it or Nazi references, but it's done in like a weird comedic way, right? Like there are examples of that where it's done in like a haha, we're Nazis, and there is like a little humor to be derived from the idea of saying let's genocide a fictional mythical creature. I'm not saying that yeah, so I mean, like, give me a specific thing, because I could just ramble about it.
A specific thing about what?
Like, that there's an issue with. Like, is it just someone playing a Nazi? Is it that they played a Nazi and weren't super serious and somber about it?
Oh, it's probably, I mean, I don't know. I don't really care either way. But I would say for the most part, I don't think you should probably be doing it on live stream because I think the chat is going to be festered with people who are making probably uncomfortable innuendos. Offline TV crowd, I mean, just a bunch of, I mean, they're probably younger, I'd assume. And then, so like, the guy was, Michael Reeves was literally the incarnation of Hitler for like the most part. He was his character, he was saying is like a failed artist or whatever. And his idea, he was a half orc and he wanted to go and kill all the orcs and ethnically cleanse them, I think was the word used.
Right. And I mean, so was that not like are Nazi themes not a reasonable thing to implement into a story? Like, and I'm not talking like from a pro-Nazi thing. I'm not talking propaganda. I'm talking like as story points, right? Like J.K. Rowling's books have they're like the main characters, and it's not like being portrayed in a way of like oh, this is like a Nazi-esque character that you're fighting. It's more of like okay, we are the Nazis and we're going to kill everybody. And it just seems like a shitty, I don't know, shitty campaign idea to literally go and genocide.
Yeah, I also don't remember Voldemort being the protagonist of the Harry Potter.
Well, hold on. Wait. Does every story have to be from the point of protagonist?
Wow, that's a really good question, Lycan. And you've hit on a deep theme in art. Does art have an obligation to show us positive messages?
I feel like I've seen a video from you on this at some point.
No, there's not a right answer. It's a good question. Does art have an obligation to show positive messages to society? If you create a movie or a show or a character that just has bad traits, is being rewarded for it and comes off as being the victor and is seen as the protagonist, is that art responsible? Should art be allowed to show negative messages? I don't know. Let's hear it, gang.
When you're streaming to an audience of 10,000 people and you're painting, I guess, a positive light on the stuff through humor and their antics that they're going to get into, I would say that's just probably shitty platforming.
But do you give the differentiation, or do you not see it? Do you differentiate between TV and this role playing on Twitch because you see the audience there, you see the number there of people watching it?
What's like a TV show where they are literal Nazis and they're just going around and like genociding people? That's not like historical information and like explaining.
I mean, like
and
saying
bad
going
people
through
are the main characters, and they're literally just killing people because they can.
Right, going through all those steps, I don't know, but I can think of like some maybe Whitest Kids You Know or something like that where they do play Nazis, but you know they are talking about what would be normally very serious things, but in a very joking manner.
Yeah, but the goal is, are the Nazis portrayed in a positive or a negative light there?
Man in the High Castle portrays people in a negative light. Portrays pretty much all the Nazis in a negative light. I've never seen Jojo Rabbit, so I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean that's Jojo Rabbit. Like Hitler is this funny, goofy fucking character, Like the movie starts with him, coming out of nowhere and telling the kid to heil him.
Wait, hold on. Before you get into this, be very careful about how you characterize Jojo Rabbit, because I'm pretty sure it wasn't a movie that was supposed to make you sympathetic towards Nazis. And
No,
that's
not
what
at all.
You got
but,
out
do
of
you
it.
think that's what they were doing in the campaign? Like, do you think they were trying to garner sympathy for the Nazis? I don't, and that's from what I've read about people saying about it, I don't think they were trying to garner support for the Nazis. I don't think they were trying to get people to be on their side. You can be that antagonist, and then people aren't supposed to support what you're doing, but you're doing it anyway, regardless of whether or not you're doing it in a comedic way or a deadpan serious way. We can talk about whether or not it could cause harm, and I'd say that if you're going to ascribe the harm to this, I'd say there are probably some instances in TV where you should be giving the same thought to.
Like,
let me see. Give me a second.
Sure.
Well, I mean, no, Jojo Rabbit's still a good example for that.
Do you have any other? I haven't seen it, so I can't.
Well, shit. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything.
I would say for the most part, in a lighthearted campaign to probably a younger audience, they're heroes and supposed to be the heroes in the story, probably. About facing and playing genocidal characters for the meme. Now, do I think it's a funny meme, a funny one-off meme to have your character's background be like, LOL, I'm an artist and I'm a half-orc? Sure, it might be a funny one-off meme. But for the campaign to just do an about face and just turn into, LOL, let's just kill all the orcs. Am I right, guys? And then it sounded like the campaign was literally going to turn into Koibu pushing them and being like, okay, here's a pregnant orc. What are you going to do? And then, we would have to see what would happen, right? But It just feels uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not saying... So that's the thing. I differentiate between saying this is bad, it shouldn't exist, versus this is fucking shitty writing, this is awkward, it's uncomfortable. I see a distinction between the two.
Well, it is probably bad. It probably shouldn't happen. Because intentionally or not, I think you're painting those people in a positive light. Now, if you want to do a campaign in the opposite, where you're people trying to get out of this really oppressed and fucked up genocide, I think there's some interesting stuff that can happen there. Going through and seeing the fucking horrors of what's going on in that fantasy world. That's something interesting that you can derive from. But being the oppressors doesn't really tell you anything except you're just being fucked up. I don't know.
I can't think of any examples that are something you would have seen. I've watched a lot of old British television, so Jeeves and Wooster. There used to be these brown shirts that were the pre-Nazi era fascists, and they're presented the guy's very serious, but they all make derisive jokes about them. But the guy's playing the character. I guess you could argue that but they're criticizing them and calling them stupid, so that's okay. So I could get that. But then if you go to Blackadder, I think there's an era during Blackadder where they play Nazis. I'm not 100% sure. But throughout the entire series of Blackadder, you're following this dude as the bad guy, right? So you're kind of rooting for him, but he's bumbling and stupid. So it's just, what is the threshold for whether or not you should be allowed to show a Nazi not as purely evil, even when they're doing their evil deeds? What is that line? And I just don't agree with that, treating role play as something completely different than TV just because there's an audience there. Because there's always an audience for TV and movies.
Would it be okay if they were evil and genocidal without referencing Nazism? Could they play a genocidal character in that regard?
Well, so I was talking about Nazi themes being the same vein as playing an actual Nazi.
Sorry, I was muted. Do you guys already talk about how they quoted despite being comprising 30% of the population or whatever, and literally drawing?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were quoting those. Yeah.
So that was brought up the other day, or last night when we were chatting about it in chat, and I said, real life things often are used, like integrated into art, right? Like that fucking Battlefield or whatever video game that came out a little while ago. The Russians were made to look like the bad guys, and the atrocity they committed was actually inspired by something the Americans did during Desert Storm. Like, so people take that stuff all the time. So someone improvising off the spot was like, I could do this, and like, I don't think that that's giving credence to that.
Yeah, but they're literally like dog. I mean, it's literal dog whistling when they're saying like, "Oh, did you guys hear that 13% of the orcs commit 50% of the crime?"
Well, right. So like, there's dog whistling, and then there's dog whistling unintentionally, like not understanding it's a dog whistle, but you still echo it, so therefore it still can cause harm. But like, I made the example.
I'm pretty sure they understand what they're saying there, right?
Well, no. Yeah, sure, they do. But like, so here's the example I gave yesterday. Let's say that Steven asks Mr. Mooten how in the clicker game he baked 6,000 loaves of bread so fast, and I say, well, I guess he did have enough ovens. Like, Nick Fuentes makes that fucking shitty joke dog whistle all the time. I'm not actually making it. I'm aware of the repercussions of actually making that thing, but I'm making a satirical joke about it.
Okay. Oh, I don't know what your point was saying.
Well, the point is that, like, do you view that as equally wrong? Like, if I make that joke, would you be upset with that because 6,000 people are watching?
No, because I think Nick Fuentes like is actually like probably believing that fucking shit, whereas you're making like a crazy satirical joke about it. It is a fucked up joke, and you probably shouldn't make it on stream.
But do you think those guys meant it? Are you unsure if
no, it's probably it's probably a fucked up joke that they shouldn't have made on stream. Would be my point.
I mean, that's to me a different conversation, like to what degree of edginess we can get to, or should be allowed to, or ought to do, you know. Like, because I don't think it causes harm for me to make that joke. Is it in bad taste? Maybe. Is it funny to us?
How do you know? How do you know it doesn't cause harm? Like Mooten said, you're talking about a younger audience. You know,
what
like,
degree of harm has
also yours would be like a satirical joke randomly in a fucking conversation, not in the theme of an entire D&D.
And you're basically normalizing the dog whistle by saying, "Oh, ha ha ha, yeah, I understood that reference."
Wait, am I normalizing it or am I just referencing it? There's a difference between normalizing and making people feel much more comfortable with a very dangerous idea or a very evil-spirited idea.
So I think your thing was you're just making a one-off joke, right? In a grand conversation. It's not like the D&D campaign, which was literally turning into like a genocidal Nazi campaign. And then making those jokes is also, it's not just a one-off thing. It is now a part of like a greater piece of material of
but they're playing,
fucked up shit.
Well, they're playing either direct, carbon copy Nazis or Nazi-esque characters. So they're going to obviously implement, to the best of what they know as what would be.
But I don't even think they're being satirical at all. They're not like doing anything that's satire. They are just they're just playing like Nazi characters just to be edgy.
Sure. But even then, like if they are playing Nazi characters, but they want to insert some humor in there, like
some dog whistling humor. I mean, yeah, it's par for the course. You're playing a fucked up D&D campaign. You might as well fucking add some more bigoted shit.
Exactly. You're playing a bigoted character. Wouldn't you make bigoted jokes?
Here's a question. Does the length of a joke have any bearing on the severity or the potential harm caused by a joke? So for instance, let's say that I have a joke where I say, so because people understand who I am, right? Let's say that I make that same joke that Lycan said earlier, like, oh, 13, or I'm sorry, it looks like I have enough oven to bake the cookies or whatever. Yeah. Let's say that I have a joke related to that. And then let's say that I have a joke where we're going to create Nazi land in my Terraria campaign, where like the color themes and the swastikas and everything have to be here. And then like I get like skins to like have all of my enemies, appear to be some form of Jew or whatever, right? Is there a difference in those two types of jokes? One is like more involved, one is like at greater length. The other is just kind of like a one-off, or are those two jokes exactly the same? What do we think?
I would say those two jokes are way different.
Yeah, but I would also view like that if you decided to move forward with that with your Terraria, I'd view that more as like friend world like territory. Like that's a lot of, effort to put into that.
But how is that different than creating an entire universe where you are a...
I'm going to get to that. So you create that, you make that world, and it's like, haha, guys, it's just a meme, versus we're talking about roleplay TV show, like making characters.
It just depends on like, it sounds like that's like a LOL, I'm on like a 5th level of irony joke now because like I have like Do you see like the Nazi swastikas and when I made the cookie joke? It's just me being on like the 6th level of irony, chat. I'm not actually like a fucking crazy Nazi or whatever. First is just like a one-off joke that, I mean...
Well, here, let's do this right off the bat. Do any of us think that, like... Oh my god. That Toast or any of them are actually, like, harboring, like, Nazi resentment or like, Jewish resentment or whatever? Are they actual Nazis or anything? Does anybody here think that?
I don't think they are.
No. And I think if we did think that, that's where we would run into like an issue, right? Like when we're uncertain.
Well, I think
sure,
it's an
but I'm
issue
more
regardless
uncertain about the audience of people who I mean, there's 10,000 people watching. They probably have some fucking crazy Nazis in the chat, right?
How much do we sanitize for the sake of the audience? Like, I do think we should be. Now, hold on, real quick. I do think
we don't say the N-word of the gay
concerned.
ass slur for the sake of the audience.
Is that because of the audience, or is that the spiral of silence? Because we're afraid of people thinking we're racist or homophobic, so we just stopped saying those words? Or did we actually make the conscious decision to stop saying those because we genuinely wish to reduce harm?
Is this like the PC argument? I'm pretty sure
no,
people
it's
just
very
say it
serious.
now because
Well, yeah,
they
let's
realize that those words
let's
hurt
shift
a large segment of the...
Let's shift and let's find out, like, is there a Nazi joke that goes too far? So let's say that I make a D&D campaign and I call it Yahtzee Land, and let's say that the entire campaign is modeled off of, like, we're going to suppress some race of people that we feel like has had like a financial advantage for a long time over people. We're going to round them up. We're going to put them into labor camps so they can mine mithril for us. And if they die,
that's the entire campaign.
And that's like literally like the point of the campaign is like managing that empire.
Way too far.
Well, I'm asking Lycan. Do you think at that point that's too far? Or do you think that's all like knowing that everybody's like not a Nazi and it's a joke? Like, is that an okay campaign?
Wait, I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
I created a campaign and I call it Yahtzee Land.
And it's just like World War II from the Nazi perspective?
Kind of, yeah, but it's all like a joke thing, kind of. Like I have like a group of orcs that I suppress. I make them, or it would have to be some people that had power in society at some point or whatever that are like analogous to the Jews, and I make these
goblins.
Yeah, sure, something like that. I don't know.
I think it depends on your execution. So how much of what they were doing was joking?
What do you mean?
Like,
the whole thing arguably would be a joke, right? It would be a big meme campaign where they just are like Nazis, D&D Nazis.
Well, no, so that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're being a Nazi for the sake of like, that's a serious theme and an actual, antagonistic perspective you could take, or let's say that you make the Nazis like, the Nazi can be played as an antagonist, and we're viewing it from their perspective, and those are the main characters. Like, we can do that, and I think that's pretty safe and okay.
We're not playing it. We're playing it as the protagonists. These are like people that are coming and they're setting up a Nazi campaign, but it's in D&D, so it's understood to be a joke.
But is it meant to be that they are doing like that? We're to believe what they're doing is good.
Well, I mean, when you're the protagonist, it's
So in that case, I'd say I'd have a problem with that.
Okay, so then where's the line, or what's the difference between that and like a smaller campaign?
Because I think it should be clear, or at least, I don't think that everything needs to be so sanitized that like zero critical thinking is required to determine if something is being done in good or bad faith. Like, I think, if it takes a moment, that's fine. So I'd say that, yeah, it just depends on how it's being portrayed.
Here's a real question. You think they would do it if Koibu was Jewish?
No, but there's a lot of things you don't do with other people.
Wait, I'm confused. So Lycan doesn't agree with it?
I wouldn't agree with like showing it in like a completely joking, like a completely positive light. Like, hey, these are the protagonists. We want them to succeed in genociding this group. We want them to do this.
Well, that's what people would want from the offline TV campaign.
Why would they want it? Like,
because the chat is always going to cheer for Toast,
Streamer.
Lily, Michael, and yeah.
Oh yeah, I could see that as problematic, and I could see that as a reason to rethink doing that kind of stuff.
Okay, then I don't know what the issue was.
So then you don't fundamentally disagree with
Well,
us
but
saying
how many of those people,
right?
like how many people other than shit chat spammers were making who are making edgy jokes? Like, what's the difference? Like, or where do we assume that most of these people are actually engaging in super problematic
I think it would just be better if they did it with shit that like had to do with themselves and their personalities or nationalities or whatever, versus someone that's not at the table that can't. I don't want to say
you can
that
defend
gives
Friend
them a pass,
World
but,
with these arguments, Pepe.
Hold on,
I'm not
wait.
seeing them talk about.
1 second, real quick. Fuck you, chat. I do have a backbone. But if you present me with a different way to look at it and I reconsider my position. Second of all, I literally say in my logs, by the way, search my logs for the word posterity, and I literally fucking say that I think that that the way things are presented should be taken into consideration. That dog whistling does exist and all these other things. I haven't backtracked at all. Suck my dick.
Hey, what are we talking about, guys?
Nazis.
Hey, good timing.
All right, bye, Emia.
She literally just came into the live. She knows what we were talking about. Okay.
Wait, have we talked? There's a whole like other aspect I feel like that I'm not sure has been discussed. Have we talked about how like did they discuss this with Koibu like in their campaign planning session 0 type stuff?
It seems like no.
Okay, so
no,
that's like
it was like a one-off meme that they started to go with, right?
Okay, like, and do you think that it's fucked up that they're gonna like almost involuntarily? I know Koibu has like a person who has an agency or whatever, but there is like a interesting dynamic of him being somebody who's being paid to do this service for them or whatever. Do you feel like it's kind of fucked up that they roped him into this?
Oh yeah.
Roleplay?
If he was uncomfortable with it, or if they like kind of were being sneaky about it and not being straightforward and just kind of tried to weasel it in, or he tried to weasel it out.
Well, I don't think they, to be clear, I don't think they tried to weasel anything in, or I don't think they would have kept going if it was uncomfortable. It just kind of came up and then they kind of ran with it.
Okay.
Do you think that Toast would be cool with it if Koibu started doing like some like Taiwan memes, basically saying like, "Hey, there's this small island with a bigger one, and we're just gonna go in. They're not independent anymore." I would guess probably not if it got as serious as this now.
I would be careful with that kind of stuff. If Toast is anything like me and he seems maybe a little similar, she probably wouldn't give a fuck. He'd be like, "Yeah, whatever, go for it."
I'll be right back. I have to pull my breadcrumbs out.
Toast doesn't give a fuck, dude. He killed 2 of my D&D characters.
Yeah, Toast legit might not care.
Legit might not
Sometimes when I make arguments, people do this like, "Well, would you care, son?" It's like, no, I wouldn't give a fuck. But so that's not always a good way to to go after those things.
Well, you don't know, all right? Maybe he would, dumbass.
Yeah, but the problem is if he wouldn't, then you've just like robbed yourself of your argument.
Okay, well, there's a lot of fucking people there, and you could do this to a bunch of other things.
Dan, don't you know?
What?
The lawyer thing? If you're a lawyer, you never ask a question that you don't know the answer to.
True.
Damn.
I taught you that.
Well,
because we don't know, right?
But overall, I think offline TV just made a dumb meme and they started to run with it, and you know, it's just dumb. But I don't think they should be like fucking canceled or anything. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so to kind of clarify my position is just that I don't think that there's a huge difference between TV and roleplay, and a lot of the arguments being made that I saw on Twitter, or I mean Reddit and in chat were kind of seem to handle it differently, and I don't agree with that. Like, if you want to talk about how things are being presented, I think that's a completely rational argument, and you know, TV is not above that criticism. Just the idea that because of the...
Wow, Dan, why?
Dan realized no drama was coming. Like, peace out.
But yeah, don't do Nazi roleplay to kids. How brave of me.
So brave.
It's like
so brave.
So brave.
Luke?
You are ecstatic to watch America let you right now. Yeah, you're like, oh, we can't do anything better. Like, you sound like you sound so pathetic. How you look at your